Is your ex dismissive avoidant or simply avoiding you? This is what we're gonna discuss today in this video. Sometimes people are confused. They call me and they tell me like, yeah, my ex is definitely a dismissive avoidant. And after 30 seconds of discussion, I realized that actually, no, he's not avoidant. He's avoiding you or she's avoiding you. And some people can get confused because they're in love, because they're still in the relationship. And this is what we're gonna discuss in this video. Hopefully by the end of the video, you'll gain more clarity whether it's the right thing for you to fight and get back with your ex, or whether you should move on and do something else.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So there's a concept called attachment collision in psychology, and especially in the attachment theory field. The anxious avoidant trap, right? That we create naturally, whether we are secure and we date someone avoidant, that would make us more anxious. Whether you're anxious and actually you're drawn to be more attracted to avoidant people. And what we do is that it's called a deactivation of those attachment things, because we are by nature have a deep sense of attachment. That's how almost in our DNA. We need to be attached, to spread our DNA and have kids and stuff like that. Have you always felt like this? So what I mean by that, and it's very confusing what I just said before. I want you to assess whether you're a secure person and you became anxious as a result of dating that person, or you've always been anxious and your ex or your partner is not necessarily avoidant. It's just that you are more anxious than him or she or her, and you're basically deactivating this attachment style. So if you compare your relationship with others around you or with previous ones, do you feel like you're more secure? Do you feel like your previous boyfriend was treating you the same way? That this new one is different, is more distant throughout the relationship? When you compare yourself with your parents, with other people that you know and your friends, amongst your friends, like, do you feel like you have the same interactions, the way you, maybe spend time together, go on holidays together? Is it different? Is it the same? Really assess, because it's when you compare yourself that you can also have an idea whether you're secure or you're anxious. If you're not sure about your attachment style and your relationship with your partner, speak to a therapist, because you will gain so much value in learning how to become more secure, whether it's to get back with your ex or to find someone secure or to build a secure relationship. It is important. It's a life skill that can actually change your life. Because I'm saying you should see a therapist, and not only me, anyone. Maybe you want to see someone local, maybe you want to see someone in your country, it doesn't matter. But I think it's very important, because we and 100% of people are not objective about themselves. That's why therapy is so powerful, because you have to get an interaction with someone, obviously, who's expert on the field, but also has an objective view, something we can't have. We are full of cognitive bias. We are full of our own stories, our own baggage, right? And unless we have a conversation with someone who is experienced, someone who has expertise on the field and will help you unpack those things, this will keep yourself from growing. Your story: how long have you been together? 3 months? Is it like the honeymoon phase and you're still facing problem? I would recommend you to think twice. Because if you see problems early in the relationship, it's going to be very hard, very, very hard for you to build something strong. Usually, first month is a honeymoon phase. Everything is amazing. It's just after 6 to 9 months that we can see our true self, that we reveal our true self, that we also perceive the other's true version of themselves. And when we have this image, because sometimes we are like cubes and we only see one square, and it's just by having experiences, by sharing things together, that we have the opportunity to see the complexity of the other, to see the different faces of the cube, right? 3 years, Has anything happened? Sometimes when I speak with people, they tell me, oh yeah, we've talked about buying a house together. And since we spoke about, I started to speak about buying a house or moving in together, he started or she started to be a bit different, a bit distant. Okay, so really assess whether there was a life event. You were happy for 1, 2, 3, 4 years and something happened. Something happened and your ex now is behaving a little bit like a dismissive avoidant. In the past, he would like his own space, but now he's becoming distant. The talks about commitment, very, very, could be a triggering event as well. There's a quiz for you to know if you can get back with your ex as well. The link is in the description, so you'll assess whether you have a chance to get back with your ex or not. The love language, which is extremely important. I don't talk a lot about love language because I think most people know it. And this table is enough to know about love language. The reason I'm talking about love language, because sometimes we feel like he's avoidant, or he's dismissive avoidant, and I know it, but at the same time, if you look at how you communicate with them, perhaps it's just that they have a different love language that could be perceived as being avoidant. For example, maybe you're very much into physical touch or quality time, okay? And you basically want to, hug your partner, hold hands in the street. You want to spend a lot of time going on dates, walking along the beach or whatever. That's your love language and you really love this. But that's not his or her love language. And so whenever you demand those things, they don't feel loved. It's just that it's not their thing. They'd rather have you helping them in the house or telling them how awesome they are, right? And it's not because they're avoidant. It's just because you're using the wrong love language with them. The wrong love language with them, right? So those two, physical touch and quality time, perhaps, because very often it's just a question of misunderstanding. Just a question of how can you tune in and understand what could work with your partner, with your ex. And some people, they think like, okay, I've tried to be affectionate. And the more I tried, holding hands, giving him hugs, he would push me back. Therefore, he's avoidant. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It could be that just like, no, it's not his thing. So be mindful about those things because sometimes it could lead to miscalculation, misinterpretation of the situation. I'm struggling today. Their words. It's very important to assess the words. A big caveat though on the words because I see that almost every day. People telling something and then acting in a different way a few days after. The words are good when we can't assess the action, especially if you are not in touch with your ex or you can't really confront them. They are ghosting you. It's either because they feel too pressured or because they're not interested. So with this, it's a big spectrum, and I'm aware of that. But I'll give you the answer to this situation after in the next slide. Too pressured because if they're avoidant and you want to see them, you want to spend time with them, you want to be with them, you want to share intimacy with them, it's overwhelming and they're like, I'm gone. Ghosting you could be not interested and they're not respectful enough, polite enough to give you a clear explanation. The problem is it's really a case by case, really depending on the context, your history, your interaction. Are they telling you, I don't love you anymore? Or it's just like out of the blue? Or are they telling you it's not working for me? So there's a very big difference between those things. I don't love you anymore. Obviously, it's like feelings. It's something that a lot of people say, and they're lying because they still have feelings, but they just want you to stay away for a bit because right now they don't want you to intrude in their space, to be, they really want to be single for a bit. But it's way different than it's not working for me. It's way different than I don't have time for this. I don't have enough energy for this. This implies that there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of work to put into the relationship. This means that I love you, but it's just that we don't function because I feel your needs can't be met because you need to see me very often. You need me to call you every day. And I can't do that. This is the sign that it's actually a clash, a collision, attachment collision here. So, if your ex is into you, it's the only way for you to know whether you should get back with your ex, right? Because you don't want to be with someone who doesn't love you. Space will create that sense of security, right? If you had something strong, they will want to fight for it. There's no argument about that. If you had something strong, your ex will fight for it. If you didn't have something wrong, something meaningful, yeah, I mean, you're wasting your time. If you're a guy, by experience, it's okay to break no contact, to check in, because sometimes women expect the guy to make a first move. Just wait a bit of time. Don't do a no contact of 1 day or 1 week. Wait at least a month or two, depending on the situation. At some point, you have the right to regain control and get closure and see where they're at. There's no harm in trying to know what they're up to and have a chat with them. If you do it the right way, you break no contact the right way, there's no reason your ex will continue ghosting you. And if he or she does, it means that they're not respectful enough and that actually they're not interested. Sometimes it's really hard to accept that your ex doesn't want you. You want explanation, you want to confront them, you want to discuss, you want them to tell them their story and their reason and stuff like that. Sometimes you can't have it. You have to accept that. But at least having done the work of the no contact, working at being less emotional, less judgmental, and breaking no contact this way, you will actually be in a position where you will get that closure if it doesn't work. If you are meant to be together, let's end on a high note, because that's what happens most of the time with my clients. Don't get me wrong. If you are meant to be together, a no contact phase will be the thing that settles things down. Because all the tension, all the things like, oh yeah, he needs me, that space, I need freedom, they will be gone. Because they will experience life with more freedom, but without you. And if you are meant to be together, if your relationship was strong, they will come back. That's a guarantee. Now, if you're clingy, if you're needy, if you don't respect their space after the breakup, it's dead. They'll be like, okay, I've tried. During the relationship, she or he didn't listen to me, or it's too much for me. And after the breakup, it's even worse. So there's no way I'm going to get back with them. So be really mindful. No contact is essential when it's about dealing with an avoidant. Don't do an indefinite no contact, because there's a risk that actually they'll be thinking, okay, now actually they really don't like me and I made them suffer too much, so I don't want to risk breaking no contact and get rejected. So I think it's fine to break no contact after a long period of no contact. If you have any question, if you're confused, if you want answers, give me a call. There's a link in the description and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Take care. Bye-bye. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.